Hi, I'm Tracy, and I would like to talk for a few minutes about what I call type A of myalgic encephalomyelitis chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME/CFS. And for me, type A refers to ME/CFS that has a basis in a problem with the autonomic nervous system. So I just want to say right off the bat that this is based on extensive reading in the research and also, especially in this case, listening to a lot of other people's illness stories, including recovery stories. But I'm not pretending this is the final word on this subject. Just to recap a previous video that I made, I believe that there are not two main subtypes of ME/CFS. I believe that there are two diseases that are put together under the term ME/CFS and that they should be treated separately. Um, and the fact that they are not treated separately has led to fairly poor research and treatment, especially for the type I'm talking about today, type A. So, what is this type A? For me, type A is you have it if you did not have a sudden acute onset of ME/CFS, or whether it was due to an infection or to some other bodily trauma that really got your immune response going in a big way. Um, Another way of identifying type A is that there would be no delay between overdoing things physically and PEM, which is, of course, post exertional malaise, a worsening of symptoms. Um, and when I say overdoing it physically, I mean like exercise, not cognitive or emotional stress, which I think they haven't been studied in the same way. People with type A might have immune problems as a result of this illness, but they might not. So it's not an intrinsic part of it. And this is in contrast with type B, which is actually more common, and that's based not just in the nervous system or neurological system, but also the immune system. And one telltale sign of this is that it started um, right after an infection or some other bodily trauma that would activate a significant immune response. Uh, People with type B would generally have a significant delay between physical overexertion and post exertional malaise. A significant delay means 24 to 48 hours, not a few minutes. And immune problems or dysfunction are intrinsic. They're the basic part of type B. It starts with an immune response. So these two diseases, both called ME/CFS, are noticeably different if you pay strict attention to people's illness stories and tie them to the different timing of their symptoms. And I think researchers should pay more attention to this. And I suspect that the outcomes of treatment are noticeably different as well. Um, Someone with type A ME/CFS would not necessarily benefit from antivirals in the same way that someone with type B very likely would. Well, type A is understudied, but all of ME/CFS is understudied. Type A is more understudied than type B. Most studies will either filter out any case that doesn't have sudden infectious onset, so filtering out people who have type A. And so all you learn about is type B. Or they'll include them all together, but there are 2 to 3 times as many people with type B, and thus the main pattern you're going to see in a decently large study is always going to be the pattern in type B. And so in either case, you're just learning about type B. In a couple of cases, researchers have compared people with a sudden infectious onset and others, and they have found significant differences. So it's not just me yakking. And I wouldn't say not just me yakking, but in fact, lots of people, way before I ever got ill and learned about these things, had already said that there were two types of ME/CFS, and one of them was, many people believe, rooted in a problem with the autonomic nervous system being stuck on high alert. It's on a hair trigger. It's going to respond to small problems in a big way. And the autonomic nervous system is made up of the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight response, and the parasympathetic nervous system. But we're interested in the sympathetic nervous system, which is it's going to get you revved up. It's going to put you on edge. It's not going to be relaxing like the parasympathetic nervous system is. And so the idea is that the autonomic nervous system has somehow become stuck, possibly for reasons that I'm going to go into, possibly for other reasons that I won't go into, but somehow it gets stuck. And I believe that it's partially self-perpetuating, because once your sympathetic nervous system is on high alert, then you are likely to feel anxiety or excitement about things, and that emotional feeling will then feed back into the sympathetic nervous system, bolstering its response. So there, I said anxiety. And please do not think that I'm saying that people just have anxiety and they need to take a chill pill and they can get on with their lives. The autonomic nervous system is, it's a bodily system, and people who have this condition, their baseline throughout their body is changed, and it has been for a long time, and it's going to take a lot to get their bodily response to stressors, to events in life, back down to a healthy response. So it might entail a change in thought patterns, but much more than that. There's a long-term whole body program to adjust the baseline to a less excited state that has been shown for a significant number of people to work. And in fact, you can find a lot of testimonials online of people who have recovered all the way or almost all the way to their previous health by going through something like autonomic nervous system retraining, or it goes by different names, and I don't want to seem to be shilling for one of them, but there are these programs to reset the baseline, and they're not just resetting the brain's response, but the digestive system is involved. It's holistic in the body, and it is the opposite of graded exercise training. It is not something where you are increasing, getting used to increasing amounts of exertion, stress, etc. In fact, what you need to do is really calm everything down by pacing, resting, eating safe foods, etc. And I should say, I'm type B. So I did go through, after seeing all these testimonials of people who had miraculous recoveries. I thought, well, I should try it too, just in case. Um, and so I went through a 2 or 3 month program, and I followed it to the letter, which is what you have to do. And and even though I'm type B, I did get better. Nowhere near fully recovered, but the gains that I got continue today, years later, because I learned better how to handle this excitement of my autonomic nervous system, which type B people also have. So I think it would be great if some researcher would create a careful trial that includes only type B people and trying these sorts of practices, which, in the program I took included meditation, which I've changed into breathing exercises, um, careful eating, very careful pacing, a change in thought patterns, although in my case, I'm not actually prone to anxiety, so it wasn't, I think, very important in my case, but it could be for people. Um, yeah, and I'm probably missing some things. As a whole program to address the whole body. And you know what? There are probably lots of other treatments that reduce sympathetic nervous system activation, and that might help or fully address problems that some people with type A have. Um, I think it's worth doing because it probably will help, and it could help a whole lot. At any rate, that's what I wanted to say about type A, about which we know less, and I personally have not experienced. In a future video, I'll be talking about type B, and continuing my diatribes about getting more systematic about research into ME/CFS and other issues related to the disease. Thank you.